We'll give her a couple minutes, but I'm not going to go too long.
Yeah, I imagine you're pretty winded at this point.
Not as winded as I'm going to be. Hi-oh.
Yikes. Oh, wow, look who arrives on scene
I didn't even have my gallery view ready. Holy
so
cow.
soon.
My brother called me during the first part, and I was like, I gotta go.
That's pretty funny.
I was like, I'm watching Euphoria. I gotta go. And he's, ooh, Sydney Sweeney in that. And I was like, yeah, you should watch this episode. It's very graphic. And he was like, oh, I think I've already seen it. And I was like, it just came out 5 minutes ago. And he was like, oh, okay. Then it was last week's that I saw. And I was like, yeah, this is worse.
And some might call it better, but we will talk about it. Welcome to this episode of the Prestige-ish Media Podcast. This is episode 301. We have with us our favorite mother of the podcast, Jessica Z. Jessica, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. I had a wonderful Mother's Day with my family.
Are all your little piggies intact?
Yes. Also,
Her pay piggies or her piggies?
my
Piggies.
favorite 14 or 5th, my friend's son made
Yeah.
fun of me for inviting him to Florida with us. I ran into him at the
Yes.
grocery store.
It's a meet cute.
Yeah. Him and his sister were there buying candy, and I was like, oh, for your mom.
Did you, nothing incriminating happening at all. Z, did you get your shirt yet, or is it still en route?
I checked the mail yesterday.
It should be there tomorrow. I know it's en route, so we will have to wait for next week. Dan, how are you today? Long time no talk. How was your Sunday?
I also have something en route to Jessica Z for Mother's Day. It's a fart in a jar.
Guys,
How much did she pay for that, I wonder?
that
$50.
originated from a girl who started on 90 Day Fiance.
She's a big jar farter, huh? You
Like,
think
She's got the jar fart lore.
She was an OnlyFans girl, and
Uh-huh.
then she went on 90 Day Fiance, got a huge following, so she started doing stuff like that, and she started selling her farts in the jar, and they were like $15 or something at first. And she said she sold a ton of them, but I think she was just trying to recruit other girls to sell their farts and sign up because she started a competing platform to OnlyFans.
He's the
when
Jack
the
Wade
man
of
takes over,
jar
that's got to
farting.
wreak havoc on your digestive tract. Like,
For what?
to fart that much, to make your body fart, it's hard to keep up with mass
I
production.
don't think you could even fart in a jar. I don't think it would just stay in there. Would it?
Yeah,
I would. Why would you even open it?
Surprising they didn't do the bathwater thing, since Sydney Sweeney's already had her own soap or bath soap or whatever that I almost purchased. Go ahead.
Do you want the Instagram handle for the fart jar girl?
That's not my thing at all.
She has big milkers.
Yeah, I can do it the milkers, but not with the farters. Is she the one that you tried?
Motto.
Is she the one you tried to tell me to date that was in Las Vegas?
No.
That was the one on House of Villains.
Because she had
Lima.
Because she had big milkers as well.
Larissa Lima was on House of Villains.
Okay.
Craig could have been with her when she was homeless in Las Vegas looking for somewhere to go.
Yes, I am big with the homeless community for dating. Let's talk about this episode of Euphoria. It's season 3, episode 5, This Little Piggy. We've kind of danced around the edges, if you will. Jessica Z, your first thoughts and rating for this episode.
Okay. Okay, so I actually did end up enjoying this episode a lot. I really like Maddie.
I think this was a good Maddie episode.
And so I would give the episode, what do you think, 8.5?
I think right now Z's farting in a jar off camera.
No, you said the piggies thing. So I got Gary's Valentine's Day card that I made.
Oh, that'll do, pig. That's good. You do make a good James Cromwell.
Wait, and then inside, I
God.
had a picture of his foot, but I turned all of his toes into pigs.
Yeah, that's definitely going to bring the algorithm down.
And it says, to my sugar with the sugar, because he has diabetes.
Yeah. Well, he's
Um,
still got his toes. Get your money's worth.
yeah, and I got him slippers. So I said, I hope this gift will help keep all of your little piggies safe and warm forever.
You are such a sweetheart, Z.
I
Who
know.
knew? Such a big person for special occasions too.
My
Holidays, birthdays, you hit them all.
My friend was like, you used ChatGPT to do this?" And I was like, "What? You don't use ChatGPT?" And she was like, "No, I do, but we use it for completely different things."
Dan,
8.5.
how about you and your rating on this episode?
I wasn't counting on Jessica Z to be so high. I knew that your score would be somewhat engorged. So I figured maybe I should balance mine out a little bit here. So I went with a 7.4.
Oh,
That's still
boo.
high. That's high.
Boo, Dan. Boo this man.
Boo or boobs?
I think boo.
So I'm gonna give this a 9. This is the best episode of Euphoria ever for so many reasons.
And you're like,
Um,
for some reason, just the first 6 minutes
I
replayed and
I
replayed.
could
I
I
think
couldn't
two
have
reasons. I can think of two.
I can think of a third.
I can't give it less than a 9. I think this is a very restrained score on my part. And if I have a little more time to think about it, I might give it a full 10. But yeah, I'm giving it a 9. Aside from the opening scene and the great performance from the Meryl Streep of our time, Sydney Sweeney, I think overall this was a good episode. Action's picking up. We end on a cliffhanger, which Euphoria doesn't normally land on this cliffy of a hanger. I'd say maybe a season hanger, but this was a hell of a cliffhanger. And to Z's point, I think Maddie finally had something to do. I thought it was the best Maddie episode rather than her just praying mantis in the corner. She's making moves. And I thought her and Alamo, we'll talk about it more, but that was a great somebody on her level of nefariousness. So we can get into the episode. Once again, this is This Little Piggy. So we start out with a lot of ASMR, Dan. Is that probably a down 0.6 for you, maybe? That was probably a rough start. What did you make of all the ASMR early?
I'm definitely not a fan of the construct, but this was about as good a packaging as you could put on it. So I didn't want to smash my TV.
You're like,
How,
"Oh, now I get it."
so Maddie, I think they talk about Maddie helping Cassie follow her dreams. We get the piggy scene. She's got a toe in the mouth. No matter what you want to say about Sydney Sweeney, she is a pretty big star at this point and a polarizing figure. And the stuff that she's been willing to do this season, I think you got to give her a lot of credit because I don't know that a lot of people that have gotten as big of her as her would do everything she's doing, but I do think she plays it well. But we get the piggy scene. She's selling panties. Maddie's kissing envelopes. At one point, to the point of all of this, like she doesn't want to fart in a jar, and Maddie says she'll do it. She doesn't care. Her jumping rope, maybe second only to the wedding dress scene and what's to come. To Jessica's point of I get it now, like I've never been a fan of like gigantus women, and I'm still not. But we get Cassie Zilla as it's coined in the after episode.
Guys, that was like completely like a copy of a scene from that new show on Apple TV Plus, the Margot's Got Money Problems. She
Well,
literally was an OnlyFans girl that made herself like a giant version of herself, like towering over the city, like walking in the same gait and like everything. Everything was, I was like, what?
yeah, sometimes that happens where you get two like movies or shows at the same time that just riff off each other.
I'm not
Hearing
familiar
This is
with what Jessica's talking about, but this is definitely an homage to Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Yeah, so
yes.
they definitely brought up that, but Sydney Sweeney specifically called it Cassie Zilla as well, and they did mention Godzilla being an inspiration. It took a long time to build the sets. Obviously, it was a miniature, so I couldn't really tell at first what was happening because it went a little wolfman-y before she just started getting bigger, but she was like bursting out of her clothes, if you will. So I think because Euphoria set this precedent of these like dreamy type sequences or these off the wall sequences, this obviously could fit into that because otherwise it would be totally out of left field, but it felt earned because the show set the foundation for that. We heard Maddie on podcast. They said she sounded like a Democrat, and she said, I'm not retarded. She's sending 35K to Nate early. Maddie calls him a bread loser, not a bread winner. What did you make of this open, Dan? A 50-foot woman and all, the full Cassie open. We get her finished in front of the Hollywood sign. About when I did. Your thoughts?
It was a good fun open. It seems like this season, rather than in the first season, they would dedicate an episode basically to one of the characters. Here at times it feels like we're watching 10 different shows, just cutting back between them. And I think that's probably some of the scheduling of the big name actors now that they had to do. But this one show was one of my two favorite threads going through it. So I was on board. I was happy with it.
When it felt like they were finally, some of the threads were starting to come together a little bit cleaner. And I would be bemused if I didn't say we saw the most giant boobs in the world from the king of all boobs or queen of all boobs. That's definitely got two stiff thumbs up from me. Jessica Z, your thoughts on the open here?
One of the podcasts was Trisha Paytas. How do you say her name?
I don't know her.
Paytas. She was like a big YouTuber or something. A very, very big following. And then she did OnlyFans, the big girl.
Okay. I was taking notes and seeing boobs. I could only catch so much of the
Imagine how
podcast, though.
Craig didn't notice that part of it.
Right? He just thought that she was doing solo podcasting.
I was catching what I could catch. There was a lot going on. I had my hands full. Dan, did you have something else?
I have a question about the sequence because there's the one point when Cassie Zilla walks up to the office building and looks in at the one guy that's listening to a recording, and he looked an awful lot like Jules's guy.
Oh, it definitely wasn't him.
Okay, I needed clarification on that
Yeah,
because
I
they were
think
similar
Jules's
enough.
guy is more gray.
Dan, are you saying that because you think all older white men look the same?
Pretty much. Yeah, I see no gray.
I agree.
Z, did you have anything else on the open here? Any other lore?
I just felt like this was my wheelhouse. I was like, okay, I know about the farts. I know about Trisha and her OnlyFans piss. And I do recommend that Margot Has Money Problems. Okay, maybe not for you guys, but it's got Nick Offerman in it.
It does. It has Elle Fanning. It's got a little bit of a
Yes.
wrestling background and Nicole Kidman's in it as well.
Yes, her dad is a former pro wrestler. Elle Fanning plays Nick Offerman's daughter. He plays a former wrestler. What's her face? Nicole Kidman is also I think she was a wrestler as well. Yes.
Yeah, I did see there's a pretty infamous OnlyFans model who got fired, and they mentioned a wrestler getting fired, and she was like, when your life is being portrayed on TV screen, and she infamously said she made more her first week or month on OnlyFans than she made in wrestling, and that was a line from the show. So I think a little bit of inspiration with her too. Also, Widow's Bay, haven't had time to talk to you about it, Dan and Z, but I think Z might like it. It's like a spooky, it's like a spooky monk, maybe, and the lead actors in The Americans, Dan. But we are covering Euphoria. Jessica, to be on themes, got a squirtle behind her. Dan, you had another point.
Just one other thing. This was not necessarily a cringy episode, but Euphoria can be like very unsettling. And as Cassie is doing this skyrocketing to fame, and all these pervy dudes are like signing up for it, I was almost worried for her safety and security in this tiny little apartment complex. You do hear stories about how people's fame outpaces their security. I know Billie Eilish, as she was growing, had some scary moments with fans and stuff like that. And I thought this might be, for a moment, the way that Euphoria was going to go. Am I just an overprotective dad, or did anybody else feel that?
I was thinking enough with your dad brain. Let's talk more. Let's talk more about Craig jerking off.
Let's get back to the Squirtle. So
Oh, you
yeah,
squirtled all right.
I mean, those are very realistic thoughts.
Yeah, if we were talking about a show that, and it hasn't been determined if this is or isn't the final season, but it feels like it will be, or at least in this format that it will be, because it's pretty difficult to get these actors together. And I don't know how Sydney Sweeney could top this ever. But yeah, I feel like if we had more runway or the show gave things more time to breathe, I might have those same worries. But outside of maybe Maddie's safety, I had some of those concerns, but honestly, Maddie seems like she can handle herself, so I didn't feel as bad there. So yeah, didn't really have time to get there with Cassie. As I said, my hands were full.
Hands? So, what was in the other hand?
You got a phone, you've got an iPad, you've got whatever else is going on.
How many screens were you playing this on?
There's a lot. I'm taking notes. I'm watching. You guys are texting me. Who's to say what's going on? So we get an ice pick scene with Alamo. We know that we more adequately learn that the guy we've been calling Cedric the Entertainer's name is Big Eddie. So Alamo is pissed that he's been betrayed. He calls Rue a Dracula-faced bishop.
Wait, Rue or Lori?
I thought he was calling Rue that because she's the one that's in charge of I got this Dracula face in charge of the club now. So I thought that was directed towards Rue. We get some Bishop talking about taking back what's ours. We get an uncomfortable scene where Alamo gets shorter pants and he thinks it makes him look small. He slaps this guy till he pisses himself, almost ice picks him. Z, what did you make of this scene with Alamo and the gang?
I was scared. I thought he was really going to do it. He's a loose cannon. He's always scared me from episode 1 or whenever we met him. I've been saying that he scared me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he's just such a good actor that he's disarming. And you can see him becoming more unhinged. And I mentioned last episode, we see Rue realizing in real time how bad everything is. The first couple episodes were all fun and games, and now she realizes it's real. Dan, what did you make of this exchange here?
I think I'm going through it with Rue a little bit because every time we see Alamo now, he's lashing out at somebody's mistake or how they misspoke. Alamo's not quite so fun. It's not just hanging out in a strip club anymore. It's always a life or death moment. So, yeah, I had that note and I'm ruining my way through it.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll say about it is that we've seen how he's taken words and now we see even more things that can make him unhinged, the slightest of slights. Marshawn Lynch, who I think his name is D, I think we finally get that more prominently.
I thought it was G.
Okay. Either way, it's a letter, but we do see Marshawn Lynch trying to defend Eddie from trying to save himself, and Alamo calls them all Judases. I think Marshawn Lynch, for a non-actor, has done a pretty good job this season. Any take on that, Dan?
I agree.
Z, formal Buffalo Bill, Marshawn Lynch. Any thoughts from you there?
Yeah, I actually thought that he was just a cameo. So I found out this episode that he is one of Alamo's men.
That is true. So I like Brandon even less than I like Nate, I think. I forget what the house is called, the famous OnlyFans house. It's not the Smush house, but it's something else that Sophie Rain. But what is their OnlyFans house? They call it the Drill House on this show. That was what was on the contract.
What?
Let me see. Sophie Rain.
I know about like
Bop House. They call it the Bop House. So Sophie Rain has the Bop House and they manage all these girls who do OnlyFans. And so I think this Drill House was a take on the Bop House.
Wait, these dudes are doing OnlyFans?
They're calling it on the show, the TikTok, more of a TikTok house, but the the thing is called the drill house. I think they're mixing
I didn't even know.
euphemisms here.
I've never heard of an OnlyFans house, but I know that there's several. The Pauls had the YouTuber and like TikTok house.
Yeah, there
Those
were
are
some.
way more famous than the OnlyFans house that you only know about.
No, I think if you look a more current house, like I get that you've exposed all your fart jar knowledge, but I have just more seen articles on how much money Sophie Rain makes. I've never subscribed to her or any of her friends, but Bop House, Drill House, I think that's a direct take off of that. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of Brandon. He's trying to convince Cassie to leave Maddie. To Z's point, early in the season, we finally get the full realization of Nate really encouraging her to even film scenes with Brandon to try to get his money up. So that's definitely pretty sleazy on Nate's part, but he's lost all his morals. Dan, what did you make of Brandon and the Nate of it all?
Yeah, Brandon seems like sleaze. I might have more on Nate later, but it is a very glaring Nate after the one that we saw for the majority of the first two seasons. And he wasn't even on board episode one this season, and now he's just made Cassie into his pay pig.
Z, any thoughts on Brandon or Nate this episode?
Brandon's loser. They don't bring people into those houses because they want to help them make money. They bring them in because they know they're going to make money off of them. And
Yeah,
he's just like,
and hard to know whose contract was worse. It seems like Maddie gave Cassie a deal, but I don't imagine the drill house contract was going to be a good time for anyone, if that makes sense.
yeah, no. And then you're like stuck in, no. I like
But
that she can do her.
we do know they're tied to the other girl who has made a lot of money. So there is that, and I
But
think
Cassie's literally making a lot of money right now.
I think she's making her way up. She's still selling panties for $50, but she is gonna raise her prices, Jordan, or
Yeah,
whatever
and
his name.
she hasn't even hit her peak though. She's
Did
doing it without him. She doesn't need some man. He's another Nate.
Dan, did you notice Bishop when he had that hat on? Did he have a guy he was cutting up in the shower or something, or what was
Yeah.
going on?
I have a note. Who is this guy? Because he
I
doesn't seem like one of
also
Lori's people.
Yeah.
But there was a dude sitting in there. I had no idea the reference point for that.
Yeah, for me, filmatically or cinematically, the most prominent chainsaw cutting up drug scene I've seen is Scarface. I remember the first time seeing that. That was just like crazy to me, where at this point it's just like a side shot we barely pay attention to. Dan, where are you on your horns? Was that a trombone, a horn, a skin flute? What was Alamo playing there?
So it looked like a horn or a bugle, but I do have the note, don't call him trombone shorty.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a trombone. I know that's got like a slide on it, right? I don't know the difference between a horn or a bugle. You got any takes, Z?
nope. No brass in my family.
Cash ass or brass? No one spreads Alamo's cheeks for free. Dan, it seems like Rue is trying to be loyal to Alamo. She's giving him information. She identified Faye, but she also is duplicitous because the government thing. What's your take there?
I'm a little confused, to be honest, because I thought originally the plan was to go after Lori, but she's not working for Lori. She's working for Alamo. Alamo's not really a drug runner. He's just using them. So the whole preface for it is a little bit, I just don't get what's going on in that regard.
Yeah, it just seems like Alamo doesn't trust anyone. He's becoming paranoid anyway. And then Rue obviously has three issues. One, she's a drug addict, which isn't okay with him. She's had to overemphasize that to get him off the track of the government. And then on top of that, Lori, I don't think, obviously, she didn't recognize the voices of the people in the mask, but he
And then we
thinks
got
that,
neck brace.
yeah, she's definitely Magic, as we get her name a little more prominently this episode, is definitely screwing everyone over. Lori never wants to talk to Rue again, which is sad. Wayne answers and finally gives Rue her first piece of incriminating info. Z, did you have any comments on Alamo not trusting Rue or the call with Wayne or the fact that Lori never wants to talk to Rue again?
Yes, it was at this part that I was thinking I would just go to prison.
Like,
As a gay woman, I would be at least not lonely. And she loves doing schemes and shiesty and drugs. And I just feel like she could find her place there. That's not being buried and beaten in the desert.
seeing Mother's Milk drink toilet wine and the boys might change your opinion on what narcotics are
I
available
just,
in jail. But yes,
oh, all of them. My brother was there
but yes,
in federal prison.
I think if anyone could handle jail, Rue seems to be able to maneuver anywhere. She's like a fish in water, takes to
She would
everything like a fish to water.
be so popular. She would find her place.
Yeah, was ultimately going to, or Cassie was going to sign this contract. She did at least have the balls to confront Maddie. She did say that Maddie was her best friend. I think Maddie could have helped herself by being like, hey, I could do this for you. She does find out that she's only assistant. She meets at the apartment, which is a basement, maybe. Ultimately, Maddie holds this audition that she doesn't even have over Cassie. But to Maddie's credit, she does get her the audition. What did you make of all this, C?
Very obvious fake phone call. Also, right? There wasn't a phone. Like she didn't even do anything with the phone. It
It
was just
was
like,
pretty
oh,
weird. Yeah, that was pretty weird. Yeah, good call.
yeah. But Cassie's just like they're really emphasizing how dumb she is, and I don't know. It's I don't know unfair because I feel like she does well at everything in life. So
She
maybe not as
definitely
dumb
is
as
Mr. Magooing her way to success with
I don't know.
her sweater puppets being the blind eyes she
I don't know
stumbles
what Mr.
around with.
Magoo. I don't know what Mr. Magoo did, but
He's like a blind detective who just accidentally stumbles into being okay all the time when he's walking through all these precarious situations.
oh,
Dan, your thoughts here?
I don't really know what the read on Maddie is because last episode we were talking about her mustache twirling and she wanted to break up Nate and Cassie. They're apart. She drove the getaway car. And then she's obviously very manipulative in keeping Cassie as basically her client. I thought the contract was going to be completely one-sided and ridiculous, but it sounds like she's just taking 15% like a normal agent or representative would.
And I don't know if the normal rate's 10 or 15. Obviously, Alamo thinks it should be 50, but I don't. 30 would be high. 15 is probably a high side of cut. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
and you say Mr. Magooing, but she's actually done a lot for Cassie just to get all these followers and get her on the
No,
right
I'm
track,
oh,
saying
do the
Cassie was.
Cassie. I'm
makeover.
saying Cassie's magooing her way through the world with those sweater puppets, but Maddie is definitely directing some traffic.
Maddie has
Yeah, I mean,
strategy. She's
Well,
great, Dan.
and to be fair to Cassie, though, I do think when she gets her mind set to something like the competitive situation with the other millionaire OnlyFans model, or to her upcoming audition, we could argue. I think Sydney Sweeney's overall is playing this character very well. We could call it typecast, but there's a lot of dimension to this character. But this Shakespeare scene, clearly she gets this role. Lexi's a little hesitant. And so what I would say about Maddie is Maddie really tells Lexi she doesn't want to make her enemy, really finally balls up to get her this audition. And then I think later on, Maddie with Alamo is interesting. I think Maddie's main objective, and she says it towards the end, is money, and she doesn't really care how she is perceived. I don't know that how that mixes with her peace she's found or religious beliefs. It's a little hard to mix those together, but it seems like she's very in the moment and just trying to make money. Anything else there, Z?
I trust Maddie. I'm wondering if Alamo is bringing Maddie in as a way to keep Rue under his thumb more, trying to get Maddie involved in taking money with him so that you wrap me up in something, you're wrapping your friend up too.
Dan, go ahead.
Z, would you let Maddie run your Only Toes account?
Yes. Oh, 100%. She would like probably do the funniest with my toes or sexiest.
Yeah, I did see something where I was seeing some comments online, like some lady posted like a picture of her crotch and was asking about her husband's tip on a bill. And all the guys were like, I would have a problem with you posting your crotch more than posting the bill. But then somebody said yes, but she did at least omit her feet, except for that little hidden look at the big toe, which they said is the money maker. So apparently, Z, good news for you, the big toe moneymaker and mirror on the wall. Who's got the biggest of them all? Z, certainly, she's got the moneymaker. So maybe you won't have to hand make your cards for Gary this time next year, Z. You'll be rolling in Maddie dough.
It won't be handmade, they'll be foot made.
Yeah, they're not just pocketbooks, they are tote bags.
So let's talk about the audition. It's Shakespeare. I do want to bring up, so I was dancing around it in the Halloween party, but Jules was dressed as somebody in Shakespeare. She does quote Shakespeare in the pool. We've got another Shakespeare audition here. Mark Levinston, and I know Jan is like Jan Levison Gould, and then there's Shane Levinston. So Mark Levinson Gould, probably a Shakespeare fan of sorts, or just trying to prop himself up as smart like Cassie, perhaps.
Or he liked boys dressing up as girls.
But if she can do Shakespeare, she can do LA Nights, baby.
Is it Jan Levinson from The Office?
Yeah, but Mark Levinson, I think, is the creator, and then I start mashing all their names together, as I am known to do. The real casting director from Euphoria played the casting director, so cool there. Sydney Sweeney said she felt like she was auditioning for Euphoria again. She was nervous in front of her. Sharon Stone said that both Lexi and Cassie or Sydney Sweeney and Maude would ask her questions as an actress, and she liked being around the newer, hotter actresses and giving them advice. Not sure how well I believe that.
Did you ever see Basic Instinct, Craig? I'm sure it was before Z's time.
It was still before my time, but you couldn't not be aware of that. Everything parodied at the time, like in Living Color, or I'm sure SNL did, but I was more of an In Living Color kid.
What is In Living Color? Is that
I don't know better way to describe it than the Black SNL, but it was like the Wayans creation. And
it was the Fox SNL, and it's where Jim Carrey really got notoriety too.
Whose line is it anyways?
Not that show. Yeah.
Just wanted to say Ice Picks both in this episode and Basic Instinct, and Sharon Stone was the young hot thing.
Yes.
And now these girls are.
So Jules is a little pissy with Rue since the wedding. We see her question her about her emotional and sexual relationship. I don't know. This is a better episode for Jules. But we're back to like where they were in high school, where she wants Rue to be somebody she isn't. Like, why can't she be the man in the relationship ever? Like, why does Rue have to be the one always initiating? Z, your thoughts?
I feel as a trans woman, she probably wants to embrace the typical female role as much as possible.
And then draw 14 dicks on it?
Dude, women love dicks.
Rue doesn't have the equipment to do what her benefactor was doing to her or Cal Jacobs.
Hey, but Cassie does.
Cassie's got a lot of things.
An arsenal, actually.
Yes, she definitely did.
Any size, whatever size Jules is, I'm sure Cassie's got it.
Yes, Rue should check out some library books from Cassie.
Oh, I was talking about all the dildos.
Yeah, I was saying she should check them out, like a library book from Cassie's
and I wasn't
figurative
saying,
dildo library. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying the size of the butthole, not the penis.
Who's to say? So, Angel, I think it's funny that Rue uses Angel as a relationship, and it's very clear that, once again, Rue talking about sex is like 40-year-old virgin. They feel like sandbags. She just seems very inexperienced. And I don't think it's fair just because Jules sleeps with everyone for free and for money. They're what at this point, 24, 25. Not everybody's had, no, like 21, because it's 5 years and they were
I think they're 25,
16,
right?
17. They can't be because it's a 5-year
I thought it
time
was 7
jump.
years.
Who knows? You could be more right. But my point is not everybody's hooked up with 20 people at the age of 16 like
I
Jules.
think it's supposed to. I think it was like a 5-year wait for us, but it's supposed to be a 7-year jump.
Yeah, maybe it was a 7-year. Yeah, that could be right because I think there was a 2-year and then a 5-year maybe. Dan, go ahead. Any thoughts from you here?
I'm just retiring as the Time Lord between you two, but Jules doesn't do a lot for me this season. I liked the character in seasons 1 and 2, but to me, this scene took away from the other stuff in the episode that I liked watching.
And what's funny to me is she has all this physical attention from everybody else. But I think it is fair to say that Rue really does love her as much as Rue knows how to love anybody. And you see the donor, I'm just calling him the donor, but the guy banging her and letting her stay in the penthouse, complains about Rue's boxers and thinks it's a guy and doesn't want to catch an STD. And I like you, but I love my family. And so it's a weird dynamic because it seems like Jules wants to be loved, but she is loved by this other person, but she also just wants to be railed and manhandled, which that's just not Rue's personality. Any takes from you there, Z?
Oh, I was wrong. It is just a 5-year jump. They seem to be. It would take me like 7 years to make that transition.
I agree. It seems longer than it is, but once again, like Rue,
That's what she said.
Rue's 22 at most. You're asking for
She's
a lot
done the
from
least.
somebody. At 21, 22, if somebody was to come to you, Z, and be like, love me, be more mature, what would you have done? Because I saw you at 29 and it wasn't there then either.
What do you mean? Was that 29?
Oh, yeah, 28. Yeah, you're old. So anyway, I'm just saying, not sure how fair Jules is to Rue, but she's been dating 50 to 60-year-olds for a while because Cal's got to be a good 56, 60 by now. Dan, any other chime-ins from you here?
Nothing more. Let's keep going.
So Nate gets 30 grand, but it's a day late and $1 short. Any Johnny Mathis, Dan?
I do not.
I just want to say that he got it, but then he didn't contact the guy.
I think he woke up when he got it. It was all happening simultaneously. He's doing some sort of American Psycho dance in his living room with his drink right away.
Maybe I was like, because Cassie said she sent, because
she said 35 earlier in the episode. She now just sent another 20 that comes overnight as he wakes up. So I don't know what he's paid when, obviously. Dan, go ahead.
I was going to say right about this point, we need to remove the N from Nate's name, making him 8, because that's all he can count up to.
Did they take 2?
So they ripped off his stitched toe and then cut off, it looked like his wedding ring finger. Did that seem accurate? It was at least a ring finger, but
yeah, that's probably about right.
It looked like there was a ring on it. Now, I'm confused why Nate doesn't have a gun at this point. I know you're in California, but you got to defend yourself. And I was expecting...
trust me, in my neighborhood, there's plenty of guns.
I was expecting him to finally lose it and defend himself, and instead he just keeps taking it.
I thought he would grab something sharp or something and drive it through that guy and be like, oh, but
if only he had a polo mallet.
Yeah, shit.
So next time. It's going to be tough to get that toe back on after a reattachment. I don't think that bodes well for the toe. I do think that this title of this little piggy, obviously we enter the episode with Sydney Sweeney putting her toe in her mouth, but I think it was a foreshadowing to what we ended up with here. To Dan's point earlier, Magic's back in the mix, causing trouble. She's a problem. Regardless of anything, if you've got a coworker like her, you need to get rid of her. She's going to be a problem. She's always in everybody. She may be justified, but she's also faking the neck injury. She's a problem. Right, Dan?
I don't like her, don't want anything to do with her, keep her away.
But no surprise that Maddie would like her. Do you have any thoughts on Magic, the non-gathering, Z?
I think that she's top loyalty, and I don't know, she is loyal, and it sucks
Loyal
that
till she's got a slip and fall suit on her hands.
because she was supposed to be so loyal to her insurance company.
Slipping Jimmy over here.
She knows where her loyalty is not really due, but like where she'll be if she's not loyal. But then Rue's literally with her life. I would be upset too.
So Alamo is now questioning things again, which we talked about a little bit already. We get this meet cute with Maddie and Rue. I do think that it's weird we really haven't got a lot of them, but it is good to just see them being friends. We get the Jesus conversation. She talks about equanimity. Were you familiar with equanimity, Dan? Has that ever been on your Wordle?
It's a couple letters too many. I think I've heard the term. I understand the concept, but I wasn't necessarily buying it from Maddie at the same time.
I scored pretty high on my English portion of the SAT, and equanimity, I think, is a new one on me. But I could actually relate to Maddie talking about removing emotion from business. It's probably tougher for me than it is for her, but when you have been disappointed by people close to you, which she has been by Cassie before, you try to separate your emotions, I think. What did you think of equanimity, Z? Are you in a state of equanimity yourself?
I actually am like pretty depends on my mood.
Yeah, I would say depends on the week as well.
Then I've
It
been
depends
like
on the monster intake.
I've pretty much
Hiyo.
been I've pretty much been very it is what it is the past 4 years.
I hear you, brother. So all is going okay, but we see Bishop in the background, not a good sign. As she says he's coming, we get Alamo. To your point earlier, Dan, I think putting Maddie in front of Alamo is putting the fox in the hen house. He's gonna be right up her alley. She's an attractive woman. She can handle herself with repartee. This is just these two. We talk about like when maybe Elliot and Rue first ran into each other, it was bad news. This is two bad forces coming together, I think, as far as what their weaknesses are or what their strengths are. But I did seeing somebody hold their own with Alamo, which I felt like Maddie more than held her own, but she doesn't know the full extent of what she's putting herself into. Z, you've infamously said Rue's been in a bad position with Alamo. You actually like Maddie. What did you make of this meeting of the minds?
I'm just worried that Rue's gonna fit up for her actually because I
You
feel like
can't blame
Alamo.
Rue for everything, for
No,
crying out loud.
I feel like Rue is gonna be trying to get Alamo caught, but Maddie's gonna be wrapped up in it too because they're gonna have business transactions together now.
But she's choosing to go into business with this man that
They don't,
might
and
be
that
a
she's
little unsafe.
and Rue never gave her an indication that he wasn't safe.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but it's also funny that Alamo doesn't take that for anything either. He just told her that he was a strip club owner. He didn't reveal any secrets. Dan, what's your take on this whole show?
I liked Alamo meeting a character other than Rue from the high school group. It felt like the shows had a crossover in the middle of it. I also thought that the setting of the big boy felt very Pulp Fiction to me.
I went to a big
And
boy.
was a big boy?
I think she said she
The,
went to a big boy.
it's the diner that they were at. You've never seen a
I
Bob's Big Boy?
I just went to my first one. I didn't get anything
Oh,
to eat, but Gary.
Was it in Pigeon Forge?
No, it was in somewhere in it's in Cincinnati.
Dan, I think that's a really good call out. I think there has been some Tarantino-esque influences on this
Oh yeah.
season and the 1970s.
Everything.
No, the 1970s Fez's
Clo-
grandma scene that wasn't in the 70s, but it was in the
yeah.
70s.
the
And
clothing,
I think that was
the
even shot on special film, Dan, for
And
reps.
The
Nate and
Halloween
Cassie's
True Romance,
house.
he did part of the screenplay for that. He didn't
Okay.
direct it, but
Okay. So anyway, lots of influence to Z's
Cassie's
point.
luggage,
I wasn't sure on the luggage, but definitely like
the
Maddie's
vehicles.
outfit, vehicles is a thing. Dan,
Wait, why are
uh,
you laughing?
anything else from you here?
vehicles are a thing, I want to confirm. Nothing else really to wrap it up, though. I think that was my last note.
What did you
I'm
make of Rue digging her own grave? I've got a quote here. He says, "Up to your throat. Not since your mom's have I heard that." Anything on Rue had to know what she was doing, but they did play it a little more surprised than I'd have liked to have played it. Any comments from you two there?
I think that's fair. I think we all saw where it was going. And Craig, if you need to pause to go answer the Amazon delivery of Cassie's underwear for $50, by all means, go ahead and do it.
I had to get it in before she raises her prices. I did think it was funny. We get the exchange with Alamo and Maddie about quantity and quality and slim pickings in the Central Valley. She wants to make sure that his women aren't busted. The money that she's talking about, $1 million a month, which we see that's some of what's going on in the OnlyFans world, is crazy. I think it's few and far between. But for somebody like Alamo, that does have to be a shock. I think we get an interesting exchange with Lexi and Cassie. It seems like Lexi bows up about once a season. And in this one, she called her the most selfish person and narcissistic person ever. But Cassie says that's what it takes to make it in this town. Cassie does thank her. And then we get the Maddie picks Kitty and Magic, which I think were the girls. Definitely she would pick Kitty, and Magic has some Maddie energy, I would say. And then finally we end up with the true cliffhanger, which is Alamo with the polo mallet coming downhill. They really play it like he swung for her head. I have a feeling that's not what we're going to get, but they shot it that way. Dan, your thoughts on that whole mess of ending there?
I think that was his original plan, but now that he's business partners with Maddie, there's no way he can do it, so he's just going to put a scare into her.
Z, your thoughts?
I agree. When he was showing her the dancers, did you guys, before they showed the faces, did you guys also evaluate and pick who was the best? I was like, the red is the best, and that ended up being Kitty. I don't think she has the best face card, but she definitely had the best boobs and butt.
They didn't show a lot of face cards, I didn't feel like, but I felt like she's
But
the
you don't
best.
see, you
I
didn't see
just,
them zoomed in.
yeah, I just felt like overall Kitty's the best of the bunch, and that Maddie more like the attitude. I did see there were some rough legs in there, that's for sure.
Oh, I didn't notice the legs. I was noticing like more
You
the
didn't
shape
see
of
the
the butt.
glitter all over up and down him?
Oh, the first two.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were some rough legs in there. I just noticed that there did look like there was some
I'll
busted
go back
gals in
and
there.
look.
Yeah, but I think we had a lot to talk about. This is probably the longest we've gone on an episode, mostly contained to episode talk.
Why are you all into length all of a sudden? My goodness.
But yeah, I thought it was a good episode.
Craig, does your aunt and people know that you take them on cute little Mother's Day outings to do pottery and stuff, and then you go home and watch episodes like this of Euphoria?
I have two funny comments for that. One, my mom recently found my Instagram, so she sent me a very guilt-ridden text message about spending time with my aunt, and maybe I'll want to spend more time with her. So that
How
was
is
fun.
Maria Menudo's gonna catch on to you with all this ant?
Yeah, yeah. And then the other coup de grace, the first time, and I think I probably only bought one Playboy ever, but I was like 18, 19, and the first time I think I was 19, and the first time I bought a Playboy at the airport, it took me a lot of courage to go up and buy one, and I think it was just because somebody from the WWE was in it. And I'm checking out, and it's your nightmare first experience because the lady's like, "Does your mom know you buy that filth?" And some lady just comes up to me, and I'm like, "No," and I don't think it's in her business. any more than I think it's any of yours. And she
You
was
should have said you were buying it for your moms.
that is funny. That is funny. And then the other thing is my
Because
brother's
of my mom's in it, page 72.
Yeah.
that is funny. And the other thing that's funny about that is so my brother's first wife ended up being a lesbian, but I remember I was getting on a plane with a Maxim magazine and she acted like I was reading hardcore pornography on the plane.
I've
And
had that same experience.
and I don't
Yes.
really think that's fair at all the same thing. And I wasn't going to read the Playboy on the plane, to be clear. Good God. But anyway, nightmare experience.